there's so many manga volumes and I'm just getting into it and everyone says everything's the best volume and there's just too many to even pick from. I don't know what to read.
Calm down, my beginner manga friend. I'm here to tell you the way of manga and teach you exactly which ones you should be reading as a beginner. So here we go. Let's get into my 5 recommendations for beginner manga readers to help you jumpstart your reading journey and not give you too many headaches. Let's go. Let me give you a breakdown of what I'm basing these mangas off of. There's 5 key components to a beginner manga for me. Number 1, the art needs to be clean. If the art is super hard to read, super dark, super cluttered, it's not going to be in here. All of these mangas I'm going to recommend are going to have easy art that's going to be easy for you to read while your eyes get used to reading manga. Number 2, they have to be readily available. If they're not readily available, they will not be on the list. Number 3 is going to be the story. The story is going to be simple but good. I don't think you should be reading anything that is mind-blowing yet because you're just getting into reading manga for the first time and you're probably going to miss a lot of things if the story's overwhelming when you're still trying to like figure out how to read it to begin with. Number 2 or number 4, whatever it is, they need to be cheap. I am not going to be recommending anything that's going to cost you tons of money. Like Berserk. I see some people recommend Berserk. Berserk Deluxe is $50 a book and there's 14 of them. Do the math on that. It's like $700. No. I'm not going to be recommending Bleach, One Piece, even though Bleach is my favorite manga. It's long and it's expensive. I know it's not good for beginners. And lastly, they have to look cool. You're building a collection. You want it to look cool. We all do. Trust me, that's the only reason I have all this is to look cool. I'm kidding. Yeah, they need to have cool spines that look good on a shelf when lined up, and they need to have cool covers. So all these series are going to follow those 5 recommendations, but yeah, let's get into it. So at number 5, we have this beautiful series called Sakamoto Days, which follows this old fat man named Taro Sakamoto, who in his prime was Japan's most legendary hitman to ever exist. Now he's a middle-aged fat man who runs a convenience store. So unfortunate. He is roped back into the world of hitmans when some of his old acquaintances and enemies come back and kind of rope him out of it. So it's a super cool series. It's a very simple series, basically a battle shonen, not even a battle shonen, just a battle manga, where this is actually the main character, and him and Sakamoto go on these adventures together and fight the enemy at hand. It's super cool because the art and choreography is the art and choreography might be the best choreography fights in manga that I've read. The choreography is ridiculous. The art is super good too and clean to read. But yeah, so Sakamoto Days has some of the coolest covers as of now, I would say. Like, some of these covers are ridiculous. They are probably untouched in the manga scene. If we're being honest with ourselves, like, these covers are absolutely ridiculous. And the spines look super good as well in Sakamoto Days. So definitely check out Sakamoto Days. That's my number 5 recommendation. Let's jump into the number 4. Number 4 is going to Kaiju number 8. I don't know if you guessed it, you probably could have. Kaiju number 8 is a great beginner manga because of how simple the story is and how clean the art is. The art in this might be easier to read, especially in fight scenes, than Sakamoto Days, but the art in this is super easy and clean to read. The covers are awesome and super colorful and vibrant. The spines look amazing on the shelf, like amazing. The colors are crazy. Overall gist of Kaiju number 8 is Japan is overruled with monsters called Kaiju, and there's a special forces team that is put together to fight these Kaiju off and keep people out of harm's way. When Kafka, the main character, is enrolled into this special forces unit, and then they go on a cleanup type of mission. He is infected with a special Kaiju something. I don't want to spoil too much. And then he becomes half kaiju, half human. He has crazy abilities. He can turn into a kaiju and fight them. So it kind of follows him. There are crazy characters in this, super cool characters as well. The story isn't anything earth-shattering, but it's fun, it's engaging, and it's easy to read. And that's what we're here for as a beginner. So they're cheap. They're like $10 a book. So, and there's 10 of them, so like $100 for all of them. It is ongoing. But yeah, look at some of these covers. The colors on these are so, I don't even know if the camera does them justice. That's Kaiju number 8. You need to be reading Kaiju number 8 as a beginner, baby. Let's get into the number 3 recommendations. We're going to switch it up a little bit. Alrighty, my third recommendation for you guys is going to be Tokyo Ghoul and Tokyo Ghoul Re. Obviously, pretty much knows what this is. The anime did not do it justice at all. So Tokyo Ghoul has to be on this list. I know some people might be like, oh, it's too deep for beginners. It's too dark. I think, but I don't want to give you guys all a bunch of basic shonen new gen. Obviously, some of them are really good to get into to start getting into manga, but I think Tokyo Ghoul, this was the first like full series I ever read, and it was awesome. This is probably one of the most well-written and unique seinens I've ever read. It's super dark, but also easy to read. So I didn't have any issues depicting what was actually going on in the panels, where some other mangas who do dark art, they make it really kind of blend together and it gets hard. Tokyo Ghoul has a good way of not doing that. But the basic gist is you have the main character, Ken Kaneki, who is a young, innocent boy who loves reading books, and he goes to his favorite coffee shop every day, and he meets this girl named Rise. They start hanging out, they start talking books. She's super into books. He finds out she's a ghoul, and she tries to eat him and kill him. And then she ends up dying. And he is barely half alive after being attacked by her. Her organs are transplanted into him, and now he is half ghoul and half human. And now he goes through these struggles of trying to fit into both worlds, and he does not do good because To be a ghoul, you can't eat food. You have to eat humans. And he's a little kid who was human, so eating humans for him is not really on the table and is very traumatizing. So he doesn't really know. He starts going insane. Little spoiler, he eventually does crash out completely and become super OP and literally insane, like mentally insane. So Tokyo Ghoul is a crazy, like, tragic hero story that you should be reading if you're into manga. This is for an older audience, so if you are young, like 10, 12, I don't know if you're watching this if you're 10, but I wouldn't recommend this. But if you are 16 plus, I would say this is a great story that you'll understand the themes enough being old enough. So definitely check this out. Again, the covers are super cool. But yeah, like I said, the covers on this are super cool, so that fits in the category. Also, it's super cheap. You can get both box sets. I think box set 1 of Tokyo Ghoul is like 110 bucks. Box set 2 is like 160, so you're getting this whole series of 30 volumes for like 200 bucks or something, 250 bucks. So definitely fits that, and it has cool spines. The spines all line up and they are super clean. So you need to check out Tokyo Ghoul and Tokyo Ghoul Re if you're a beginner. But yeah, let's get to the next. Alrighty, the number 2 recommendation is here, and that is Jujutsu Kaisen. A lot of you might be screaming right now,
Jujutsu Kaisen sucks. Jujutsu Kaisen's not even good. Jujutsu Kaisen's not even good. Jujutsu Kaisen's the worst of the Dark Trio.
shut it, chumps. It's my recommendation list, and Jujutsu Kaisen's number 2. I recommend this to almost all my friends who are just getting into manga because I think it's a super good entryway that's super fun and engaging, but also not super deep. JJK is, again, another kind of simple story. It is follows a kid named Yuji Itadori, who is a high schooler in a world where Japan is overrun with cursed spirits. Only people with cursed energy can see and fend off. The only way a normal person can see cursed spirits is in a life or death situation, which Yuji is put into, and he ends up consuming a cursed object that he was chasing for his Ghost Hunters Club that is of Sukuna, the main antagonist in this story. He then has Sukuna as part of him, inside of him. He is luckily a super strong, like superhuman strong kind of person who is able to fend him off internally and control his own body still. So he then, after now acquiring this cursed energy and being able to fight cursed spirits, the Magic Technical College, which he trains under Satoru Gojo, probably the coolest character in manga. I don't know, maybe not. He's so cool though, and I love him. Any character with white hair you know is going to be cool. But yeah, it's a super cool series. It's of the Dark Trio, so it is shonen, but it is a little bit of a darker take on shonen, which is cool. So you need to check this out. The art's great. The characters are great. The covers are super cool as well. This volume 14 is actually one of my favorite covers in my collection. But yeah, that is going to be my second recommendation, Jujutsu Kaisen. Let's get on to my last recommendation, which a lot of you probably haven't even heard about, so I'm excited to recommend it. A lot of you might be pissed that I'm recommending this because you're like, oh, it should be Bleach or One Piece. No. 1, this is my list. 2, I want to put you guys on to some heat shit. And that heat shit and my number 1 recommendation is Alice in Borderland. Alice in Borderland is one of my favorite mangas, probably in my top 3, just because of how awesome the story is. You're going to read a lot of manga in your journey that you're starting, and a lot of it's going to seem kind of similar. Definitely going to be some different points and abilities and power systems, but it's kind of going to be a little bit similar. Alice in Borderland, everything's here. Alice in Borderland's here. The story is of like nothing you've read before, especially since you're a beginner, but it's like nothing you'll read again. So you'll read this and you won't read another series and be like, oh, it's kind of the same gist. But Alice in Borderland is going to be seinen, so it is going to be geared a little bit towards more adults. It does have darker themes in it, but it follows Arisu, I think that's how you pronounce it, I don't know, and he is a kind of lost teenager who doesn't really know where he's going in life and what to do with life, and he's kind of over it. He then gets transported to like a parallel world that is almost in the future, and it's run down and there's nobody there. Him and his friends are transported there. He finds that the only way to survive in this world is to play death game with the other players in this parallel world. So he then goes through all of these different games trying to survive. If you don't play the games, you die. If you play the games and lose, you die. The only way to win and survive in this world is playing these games. And trust me, guys, these games are so cool. They're so thought out and well written that each and every one is so engaging and fun to read that you're gonna love every single one, and you're gonna wish there was more games to read. Definitely check out Alice in Borderland. It is also cheap. I think there's 9 volumes. The covers are super cool, and they're also probably the best quality omnibuses I've ever read. These are 2-in-1 volumes. Also, the spines all link together and form a city when put together, which is super cool. I'll get some B-roll of that. But yeah, Alice in Borderland is awesome. There is the live action on Netflix, but it's not as good as the manga. Trust me, I've watched both. I watched it and I read this. So you need to check out Alice in Borderland if you're a beginner, because 1, I'm recommending it and I'm awesome. 2, it's super good and super fun, and it's gonna be like nothing you've read so far, I promise. So check out Alice in Borderland as my number 1 recommendation. But yeah, that is my list for you beginners. I hope you enjoyed all of them. They're all gonna be great reads for you. They're all gonna be easy, cheap, engaging, and easy to find, and they're gonna look good on your shelves. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, follow, or if you did, like, subscribe, and comment which one you're gonna read next. But yeah, that's everything. So I'll catch you.